Y'all. A full King Von movie script just leaked, and one line inside it has the entire O-Block side ready for war. The pages circulating right now don't just tell his story, they straight up call him a cop killer. And the response from the people who actually knew him was instant and ice cold. We will shut it down. This is not regular internet noise. Screenshots of the alleged script are being passed through private chats and public pages at the same time. Fans who thought the biopic talk was still just rumors are now staring at actual pages that paint Vaughn in the darkest possible light. Some are saying Hollywood finally showed its hand. Others are saying if these pages are real, the project is already dead in the water. The streets are not debating the movie anymore. They are debating whether the people behind it understood who they were writing about. Old O-Block footage is being stitched next to the leak. Family and day ones are being tagged non-stop. And the one question burning through every comment section is simple. Did somebody really write King Von as a cop killer and think the city was going to stay quiet? Because right now O-Block is not asking for changes. They are promising to stop the whole thing. And if that promise holds, this story is about to get a lot bigger than a script. The first screenshots did not look like random internet noise. They looked like actual script pages, formatted, numbered, and carrying scene descriptions that stopped people mid-scroll. In one early sequence, the character based on King Von is described in a police file voiceover as a documented cop killer with a pattern of targeting officers. The language is cold, clinical, and absolute. Within minutes of those pages hitting private group chats, they were already public. That single characterization became the match. Accounts tied to O-Block and the broader circle did not respond with regular disappointment. They responded with a clear declaration: the project would be stopped. Posts using the exact phrase "we will shut it down" appeared across multiple pages in a short window. The tone was not asking for a rewrite. It was announcing a hard line. Development hit fast. A second batch of alleged pages surfaced the same night, this time showing a scene where the Vaughn character is confronted by detectives who list specific unsolved officer-involved cases. The dialogue in the leak has the character neither confirming nor denying the accusations, which many readers took as the script's way of leaving the cop killer label hanging over him. The new pages spread even faster than the first set because they added concrete scenes instead of just a descriptive line. Reaction from the streets turned sharper. People who had stayed quiet during earlier biopic rumors began posting. One longtime associate from the Chicago side went on a live and said the pages felt like someone had taken every dark rumor and turned it into official story language. He did not name the studio, but he made it clear that if the script was real, the people closest to Vaughn would treat it as a direct attack on the legacy. Fans watching the live said the emotion in his voice was different from regular internet talk. It sounded personal. A third development landed before the first night ended. An industry page claimed the script had been circulating quietly among a small group of producers and a director attached to urban crime projects. According to that report, the cop killer framing was not a late addition. It had been in the early treatment. That detail changed the temperature again. If the language was present from the beginning, then the people developing the film had already chosen the most extreme version of the story on purpose. Emotions ran high across every platform that covers Chicago drill. Some fans said the leak proved Hollywood still sees these lives as pure content. Others said the real danger was that a mainstream movie could lock in a version of Vaughn that the streets would never accept. Family-adjacent accounts began being tagged with the same demand. Someone needs to speak with authority before the pages become the only version people remember. By the time the sun came up, the original screenshots were no longer the only material in play. The second batch of pages, the live from the Chicago associate, and the industry claim about the early treatment had stacked on top of each other. Each new piece made the last one harder to dismiss. What started as a single leaked line had become a sequence of developments that kept the story moving forward instead of looping on the same outrage. The people promising to shut the project down had not softened their language. The pages were still spreading. And the gap between the script's version of King Von and the version the streets still protect had never looked wider. The pressure did not stay online. By the second day, a new development pushed the conflict into more concrete territory. A private message allegedly sent from someone inside the production circle was screenshotted and shared. In the message, the sender admitted the cop killer language had already raised internal concerns, but claimed the studio still believed the darker framing would drive more attention. The tone of the message was casual, almost dismissive of the street reaction. When that screenshot landed, the response from the O Block side hardened again. Within hours, a different kind of material appeared. A short audio clip began circulating, claimed to be from a conversation between two people connected to the project. In the clip, one voice is heard saying the Chicago pushback was expected and that they always get loud before they go quiet. The second voice laughs and replies that the script would not be softened just because the streets were upset. The authenticity of the audio was immediately questioned, but the damage was done. Fans treated it as proof that the people behind the film were not only aware of the outrage but were prepared to ignore it. That combination of the internal message and the alleged audio shifted the story. It was no longer only about a leaked script. It was about whether the project had already decided to move forward against clear opposition. Accounts that had been calling for a rewrite began using stronger language. Some said the only remaining option was to make the film impossible to finish. Others said public pressure still had a chance if it stayed focused and loud. A fresh development arrived in the form of a new participant. A name connected to earlier King Von music projects posted a statement saying he had been approached months ago about consulting on the film and had declined after seeing early notes. He did not release the notes, but he confirmed that the direction felt too far from the real person. His decision to speak gave the opposition a voice that carried industry weight instead of only street weight. Fans immediately placed his statement next to the leaked pages and the internal message. The sequence made the project look increasingly isolated from anyone who actually knew Vaughn. Emotions ran high as the new statement spread. People who had been waiting for a more established figure to speak said the silence from bigger names was starting to feel like acceptance. Others said the consultant's refusal proved that serious people had already walked away and that the current team was operating without the guidance the story needed. The family was left divided in public perception, even when no new family statement had been released. Every old quote about protecting the legacy was pulled back into the current fight and treated as standing orders. Another layer landed when a timeline comparison began circulating. Fans lined up the alleged early treatment date with previous public comments from people close to Vaughn. The comparison suggested the darker framing had been locked in before any meaningful outreach to the circle had taken place. That detail changed the argument again. It was no longer only about the final language. It was about whether the project had ever intended to include the people who still carry the loss. By the end of the second major cycle, the story had moved through 4 clear stages: the original pages, the internal message, the contested audio, and the consultant's public refusal. Each stage added weight. Each stage made the last one harder to dismiss as simple internet noise. The people promising to shut the project down now had more than anger. They had a sequence of developments that made the film look increasingly embattled before a single frame had been shot. The gap between the script's version of King Von and the version the streets refused to release kept widening. And the pressure that started with a single leaked line had turned into a sustained campaign, with new material still dropping. The third major shift came when a new set of alleged production notes surfaced. These pages did not repeat the cop killer line. Instead, they outlined a marketing approach that leaned even harder into controversy. One section described using the expected street backlash as part of the film's promotional engine. The note suggested that outrage from Chicago would create free media and keep the title trending. When those pages hit the timeline, the reaction moved from anger to something colder. It was no longer just about the script's content. It was about the calculation behind it. That discovery changed the tone of the entire campaign against the project. People who had been calling for a rewrite began saying the problem was no longer fixable with dialogue changes. If the marketing plan itself treated the street's pain as a feature, then the project had already crossed a line that could not be walked back. Posts that once demanded revisions started demanding the entire thing be buried. The language from the O Block side grew more absolute. Shut it down stopped sounding like a threat and started sounding like a deadline. A conflicting statement arrived next. An entertainment attorney connected to urban film projects posted that he had reviewed similar leaks in the past and that most early script pages never reached the final cut. He urged patience and said the current outrage was based on incomplete material. His comment was measured and professional. It also landed like fuel on an open fire. Fans accused him of protecting the studio. Others said he was simply describing how the industry works. Either way, his attempt to slow the story only accelerated it. The attorney's name was immediately attached to every new post about the leak, turning a calming voice into another character in the conflict. The stakes rose again when a different kind of material appeared. A short video filmed outside a production office in Los Angeles began circulating. In the clip, a small group of people can be heard arguing with security about access to a meeting. One voice in the background is clear enough to catch the words "Vaughn's name is not for sale like that." The video is shaky and the faces are hard to identify, but the timing made it impossible to ignore. Within hours, the clip was being treated as proof that the fight had moved from phones to actual doorsteps. Whether the people in the video were connected to O'Block or simply fans, the message was the same. The pressure was no longer only digital. Emotions ran high as the video spread. Some fans said the moment felt like the streets had finally taken the conflict offline. Others warned that real-world confrontations could give the studio exactly the chaos the marketing notes had described. The family was left divided in the public eye once again, even without a new official family statement. Every development forced people to choose a side more clearly than the last. The final escalation landed in the form of a quiet but serious claim. A page that had been tracking the project from the beginning posted that at least one key financier had requested a full pause after reviewing the volume of opposition. The post offered no documents, only the assertion that the money side was now nervous. In an industry that runs on financing, that single claim carried more weight than another round of angry comments. If true, the campaign to shut the project down had reached the one place that can actually stop a film before it starts. By this point, the original leaked pages felt like the opening move in a much longer sequence. The internal message, the contested audio, the consultant's refusal, the marketing notes, the attorney's statement, the confrontation video, and the financier pause claim had stacked on top of each other. Each new piece raised the cost of moving forward. Each new piece made the last one harder to dismiss. The story no longer belonged only to the people who wrote the script. It belonged to everyone still fighting over what King Vaughn's name is allowed to mean. The streets had made their position clear. The only question left was whether the people holding the project would absorb the pressure or finally step back. The pages are still out there. The promises to shut it down are still sitting in the timeline. And the gap between the script's version of King Vaughn and the version the streets refused to release has never been wider. Now I need the real opinions from y'all. Do you believe the leaked script and the marketing notes are real, and that calling Vaughn a cop killer while planning to use the backlash for promotion crosses a line that should kill the project? Or is this still just early noise that Hollywood will ignore until the film is finished? And if the financier pause claim is true, does that mean the streets actually forced a real delay? Or is it just another unverified drop? Drop your honest take below. No filter. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. If more pages surface, if the studio finally speaks, or if the project gets officially paused or rewritten, we will be right here covering every part of it. This story is far from over.